The Grande Dame of Middletown is a beautiful lady at age 125. She sits vacant now with many great memories of days gone by, the elegant meetings and parties. The Sorg House now is known as the Sorg Mansion at 206 South Main Street. It's the story of Paul John Sorg and Sam Finkelman families starting back in 1840. The Sorg family immigrated from Germany and the Finkelman family came from Russia. Now we have a third generation of owners and caretakers of the Grande Dame of Middletown. Mark and Tracy Barnett from Baltimore, Maryland bought the mansion on September 25, 2013. They plan to retire here. And I, a small part of this report, lived on the Sorg Mansion property as a teenager. My father had a dry cleaning plant on the left side of the old carriage house at the rear of the property. We lived in the apartment above the business. More on that later. Part 1 of our report is about Paul Sorg, who was born in what is now called Wheeling, West Virginia on September 23, 1840. He was the youngest son of Henry and Elizabeth Sorg, who immigrated from Germany. In 1869, Sorg and Auer started another tobacco business. One of their new partners was a Middletown, Ohio resident, George Jacoby. The other partner was Robert Wilson. So the Wilson Sorg & Company started the construction of a tobacco plant on Central Avenue at the Big 4 Railroad here in Middletown. It would become the largest tobacco plant of its type in the world. Sorg later sold his interest in the tobacco plant at Manchester Charles Streets to the American Tobacco Company for a reported $4.5 million. Sorg's other successful business investments included the U.S. Hotel, Sorg Paper Company, Miami Cycle and Manufacturing Company, and Merchants National Bank. In 1890, Sorg started construction of the Sorg Opera House. Architect Samuel Hannaford of Cincinnati designed the building in the same Romanesque style of the Sorg Mansion. This was the performance and culture center for the city. Sorg had a dream to build a castle in Middletown on a 2+ acre tract at the corner of 5th Street, now 2nd Avenue, and South Main Street. Sorg purchased 6 lots known then as 512 South Main Street. In 1923, Middletown City Council passed an ordinance changing the street names and the numbering system. The Grande Dame became 200 to 206 South Main Street. Architect Samuel Hannaford of Cincinnati designed the mansion in Romanesque style in 1887. Construction using red sandstone was completed by 1888. The Sorg Mansion as we know it today was completed by his wife Jenny. Sorg became ill in 1900. He lived in the duplex where the entrance is today. Before the additions were completed, Sorg died May 28, 1902 from apoplexy, a stroke. He was only 61 years old. Jenny Sorg maintained the place until her death at age 76. She was struck and killed by a car in New York City on August 26, 1930. Funeral services were held at the mansion, which was closed after her death. The mansion was sold at sheriff's auction on February 8, 1938. The property was bought by Sam and Lena Finkelman. Let's look now at the Finkelman family. Sam Finkelman and his wife Lena left Tsarist Russia in 1905 to come to the United States to live the American dream. The 18-year-old set sail and gave birth to a son, Max, on the way here. His family had grown from 1 boy on the boat to 8 children. Max was a well-known attorney. In the mid-1920s, Sam and his brother Dave opened a real estate office at 1213 Central Avenue. Let's move ahead to 1938. The Sorg Mansion stood empty most of the time. The Sorg family was involved in many legal disputes over payment of estate and property taxes. The Grande Dame of Middletown went on the sheriff's auction block. In February 1938, Sam and Lena bought the property for $16,000, or over $250,000 in today's money, and paid the back taxes. Although the Sorg family owned the mansion for 50 years, realtor and history buff Harry Finkelman was lord of the manor for 66 years until his death September 23, 2004 at age 89. The legacy was passed on to his granddaughter, Rachel Lewitt, who has managed and cared for the property. The Sorg Mansion was sold September 25, 2013 to Mark and Tracy Barnett. The Butler County Recorder's Office listed sale price as $225,000. There are more than 13,000 square feet in the main building, 35 rooms with 12-foot ceilings. There are 3 floors with large rooms, grand staircases, and private entrance for staff. The interior decor from the 19th century is unmatched today. The outside architecture is the epitome of craftsmanship of days gone by. As you can see, the Grand Dame's fence and wall look more like a fortress. During my teenage years in the late 50s and early 60s, I lived on the Sorg Mansion property. My father, Howard Witt, had a dry cleaning plant on the left side of the carriage house. Witt Dry Cleaners was there for many years. We lived in the upstairs apartment over the business. My friends lived in the duplex at the rear of the property. On the left side was the home of George and Eleanor Fruoff and their children, Gail, Patty, and Barbara. On the right side was where the Flaher family and their son David lived. In 1952, Dad worked with Saul and moved his dry cleaning operation to the Sorg Mansion. There are many memories of my life there. Sometimes we heard strange noises at night in our apartment. My dad just laughed and said, "It's only Mr. Sorg walking through the building." Residents in the mansion also said they heard strange noises at night, but nobody ever saw anyone or anything. The new owners, Mark and Tracy Barnett, are a very interesting couple. We walked through the mansion looking at areas that I haven't seen in 5 decades. In the grand entrance hallway, we talked about the Barnett's interest in the Grand Dame. How did you find out about this place?
Well, I found it on the internet on a site called Old House Dreams. And I was just clicking through there one day and happened to click on it and started looking at the photos that were on the site and thought, oh my gosh, this place is a castle. So I think it was the next day, I jokingly said to Mark, I came home from work and we were sitting down to dinner and I jokingly said to him, how would you feel about moving to Ohio? And he said, did you find a house on the internet that's in Ohio? And I said, I sure did, and I'm going to show you pictures of it and see what you think. So that's sort of how it all started. So excited, and this will be a wonderful place to spend our retirement years.
The Grand Dame of Middletown endures. She dominates the South Main Street Historical District and is listed on the National Register. Paul Sorg and Sam Finkelman had a dream. Both in their own way contributed much to the growth of Middletown. They gave it their time, effort, and money. The Sorg Mansion and the buildings on the property have been the home to many renters over the years. The Grand Dame was lived in by more renters than the Sorg family. Now that torch has been passed on to the new owners, Mark and Tracy Barnett. The mansion will be their retirement home. My thanks to the many people and organizations that helped with the research on this project. Special thanks to Rachel Lewitt for family photos and insight into the Finkelman family. And special thanks to Roger Miller, historian at Midpoint Library, for giving us access to the library archives. Thank you, Mark and Tracy Barnett, for sharing your thoughts with us. The Grand Dame is truly the sweetheart of Middletown. I'm Jim Witt.